I'm gonna draw your mom.
Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
I know as much as you do. I just saw the picture. But absolutely, if they want to promote boxing on the regular basis, of course they are welcome and the WBC will support them. They are the ones who have come forward and said, we will not work with the organization. We will have our own belt. Why that animosity? Well, that's the way they want to do. But now it's a double standard and it's an incongruence to what they have said. If they're going to do Opetaia, who is IBF champion, and then I saw the picture with Noel. Noel has a voluntary defense open, so of course he can do a fight with Opetaia. We will welcome that, but they have to do it under the WC rules and the IBF rules, of course.
It's not really a double standard. It's not rules for thee, but not for me, so much as a contradiction in opposition of what they originally led people to believe, that they would be operating inside of their own bubble, boxing for their own belt, away from everybody else. This changes things, though to me, at the very most, it's a change of heart. He's allowed to change his mind. We've already been over why in several videos that I don't need to go over it again here. So soon after having signed Jai Opetaia, they've secured him a unification match, the only one available to him at this time, since the only other champion at the weight, Zurdo Ramirez, is spoken for until May. So they've already done more for him than Matchroom. Let's focus on Mauricio and what small comfort, consolation this might provide, that in Zuffa going back on their word and working with sanctioning bodies, that allows Mauricio to tap into that Paramount Plus revenue stream, because the way that things have been, PBC's not doing as many shows as they used to, and neither is Top Rank. So when they're not doing that many shows, you're not getting that many sanctioning fees. The more cards they do, the more sanctioning fees for you. Given the recent amendments made to the Muhammad Ali Act that would mandate only one alphabet title per sanctioning body in circulation in a division, only allowing for interim titles and interim champions under extenuating circumstances, the way that it's supposed to be, all of that cut into the sanctioning bodies' revenue stream. Though I think the WBC and the WBA jointly were a lot more reliant on this assembly line of alphabet titles than, say, the IBF or the WBO, because they don't usually have that many titles in circulation. It's mostly the WBC and the WBA. Only really allowing them to keep one title in circulation at a time cuts into their revenue stream. Hits them in the pocket. Just like the PBC and Top Rank not doing as many shows as they used to, hits them in the pocket. So that if Dana White is now opening his wallet to allow for one or some of his fighters to kick out sanctioning fees to these organizations, the WBC would benefit, but that would also make them reliant on this new entity. For all the TV money they're not getting from their old buddies, they're going to have to rely on Zuffa for it. If Top Rank and the PBC can't get back on their feet. If Top Rank and the PBC can't get a broadcaster to kick out some TV money to them. Zuffa has TV money, so does Matchroom, which is the lifeblood of these sanctioning bodies. Without that, really can't function but so much. That TV money is the leverage that results in special favors. Partiality. What fighters would the World Boxing Council prefer hold their alphabet titles? Now, watching Mauricio react to this news via Boxing Social and the interview that they conducted, he seemed happy about it, and he should be, because that's another revenue stream for his organization. Though, as stated, that would give Zuffa power over him, leverage over him, because you'd be relying on them to keep your organization going.
The shows that Mick was doing, Mick deserves a lot of credit when it comes to Jai, because Mick did his bollocks. I mean, Mick, every show that Jai was doing was losing a fortune. And I think, I think Mick's his own man. I think Mick wants to be the main man. He wants to, we've had a bit of that in the past, but moving forward, open to doing business with him, and like I say, I think Tasman do a great job. Mick, Fran, when they put on the shows, the arrivals, the weigh-in, the production, it's been really good. But it's a tough market, that is. And that's why Jai's been fighting for what he's been fighting with. It's not Mick's fault. It's not Jai's fault. That's just the market in Australia. And if you're not pulling the numbers, that's how you're going to be getting paid. And Mick stayed in the game and kept battling away. So he deserves the commission that he's going to make out of the deal, because he'll be getting some money back.
I saw people reacting to those comments from Eddie Hearn. They're misinterpretations of what he's saying. They thought he was shitting on Jai because now Jai's gone to Zuffa after having left Matchroom, not realizing Matchroom cut him loose. According to Mick Francis, they didn't offer him a new deal, so he was free to go. They didn't lose anything they weren't prepared to lose. And when Eddie Hearn says that Jai's fights lost a fortune, he's not talking about a fight or fights that Matchroom promoted. By my count, I think Jai only fought under the Matchroom banner on a Matchroom show once. The other fights were Turkey LL Sheik shows. He made 3 appearances in Riyadh on Riyadh season shows. Those aren't the shows that Eddie's talking about. Eddie's talking about the shows that Mick Francis promoted in Australia. So that's the David Naika fight, the Claudio Sequeiro fight, and the more recent Hussein Sankara fight. Those are the ones that lost money, and those are the ones that he's talking about because they were happening on a much smaller scale than anything Matchroom promotes or any of Turkey's shows. That might also confirm what it was Paulie Malignaggi heard last week, that Jai's not making much money per fight. Maybe the fights they were talking about were those fights on those shows that lost money. Now funneling Jai Opetaia over to Zuffa allows Mick Francis to re-encumber some of that money he lost, since he's not the one who's going to have to come out of pocket for Jai's fights anymore. Zuffa is going to take care of that while Mick Francis collects a commission for sharing that fighter with them, and it all works out. Square deal. But there is a question to be asked. How is it that Zuffa, so soon after having signed Jai Opetaia, were able to get him a unification match where Matchroom could not, and where Turkey LL Sheik in some ways could not? Because he boxed on a good number of Turkey shows, but they weren't against the champion. How did Zuffa make it happen so soon, so fast? Noel Mikaelian and Badu Jack boxed on one of Turkey's shows, but not against Jai, against each other. How did Zuffa make it happen? Is it that they invested more in Jai than Matchroom was willing to? Because they made it happen. And how did they convince Noel Mikaelian, who spent the better portion of a year running from Nova Scotia's Ryan Rozicki, to take on a fight with an even more dangerous fighter in Jai Opetaia? Money talks. For starters, even if he did run from the Ryan Rozicki fight and made every excuse in the book not to have it, there was never that much money in it. And there's likely more money in the Jai Opetaia fight, money being the great motivator and this being prize fighting. That might explain why he ran from Ryan but decided to fight Jai. Noel Mikaelian as a champion, even with that title, he doesn't make that much money anyway. This is his best bet to make a big purse. You can play the waiting game for the winner of Zerto versus Benavidez, but that fight is going down in May, meaning the winner of that fight might not be available to you until the fall, winter, and how are you going to make ends meet in the in-between time? Taking on the Jai Opetaia fight was a necessary evil. Synergy is a factor as well, and this may seem like a double standard to some people. It wouldn't have meant as much if it were Matchroom that put together the Opetaia versus Mikaelian fight. People would have interpreted that as them doing what they're supposed to do. That Zuffa's the one that brought it together gets the fight more attention. It looks a lot more like Zuffa just one-upped Matchroom. They got your old fighter, and they're already doing more for him than you did. Puts a different spin on the whole thing. A different complexion. Which in some ways may seem a double standard, that Matchroom could have put together that same fight, but it wouldn't have got the same reaction if Zuffa puts it together, and so they have. Eddie Hearn said that he wanted to compete with Dana White, and he wanted to take them on. Take on Zuffa. Well, that's what you're in now. You're in competition with them, and they are already doing more for that fighter than you did. Jai Opetaia sports an unblemished record, 29 wins with no losses and no draws, 23 knockouts. Widely considered the very best cruiserweight in the division and in the world, in spite of only holding one alphabet title. His Ring magazine and lineal status, which he won from then-champion Mayris Briedis has a lot to do with that. Coincidentally, Meiris Briedis was a common opponent between Jai Opetaia and Noel Mikaelian. Noel faced him too in what was the second season of the World Boxing Super Series. Noel Mikaelian sports a professional record of 28 wins with 3 losses, no draws, 12 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 31 professional bouts. Last in action in December of last year against then-champion Badu Jack, who he got his revenge on in what was their rematch. Badu was the only guy that Noel fought last year. He fought him the first time in May, then he fought him again in December, where Jai Opetaia was last in action that same month. Opposite the ring is then mandatory challenger Hussein Sankara. So at this time, neither fighter has any mandatories that they have to satisfy. Jai just satisfied his, and according to Mauricio, Noel is free to fight a voluntary. Enter the unification match. If you haven't seen Noel Mikaelian in action, he's a good all-around fighter to where nothing really stands out, nothing jumps out at the screen at you, but he's good at a lot of small things, and he's very much experienced. Having been in there with former champions Meiris Briedis, Lunga Makabu, more recently Badu Jack, he's been around, and he's never been knocked out. He's never been stopped, though perhaps not being the same physical specimen that Jai Opetaia is. We know that Jai is fast and strong and sharp, and he's arguably the biggest puncher at cruiserweight right now. Vicious. An interesting tidbit is that Jai Opetaia, in spite of being widely perceived as being better than Noel Mikaelian, he actually labored with Meiris Briedis a lot more than Noel Mikaelian did. If you remember Briedis versus Mikaelian, they both respected each other a lot, didn't want to take any chances, sort of canceling each other out. Too much situational awareness, being too careful. Whereas Jai Opetaia, when he fought Meiris Briedis, he went for it. He went for the gusto, went for the knockout, took chances. It got his jaw broke. That resulted in a more difficult fight with Meiris Briedis, but also a more emphatic victory. At the end of Jai Opetaia's fight with him, both fights, there was no question who won, whereas Noel Mikaelian, having a more cautious and careful affair with Meiris Briedis, there were some people that thought Noel did enough, but the judges didn't, so he didn't get the decision. Now Noel and Jai are facing each other, and you know the old saying, triangle theories don't work. Just because Noel didn't labor with Meiris Briedis as much as Jai did, doesn't mean he's gonna beat Jai. You know, just because when you fought Briedis, you didn't get your jaw broke, that doesn't mean you're gonna go in there now and beat Jai Opetaia. Triangle theories don't work. Because what else you want to remember about Noel is you needed 2 fights for 1 win over a 42-year-old Badu Jack. And then that win was still competitive. It's not like you steamrolled him. It's not like you ragdolled him. It's not like you had your way with him. You still had to work against a 42-year-old Badu Jack. So I think Jai's gonna do him. Noel Mikaelian is a characteristically cerebral fighter, cautious fighter. He doesn't take many chances, but he doesn't give you many either. So what opportunities Jai wants, he's gonna have to go out there and get them. He's gonna have to be aggressive. The saving grace for Jai is he's always aggressive. And that's with the Claudio Sequeios and David Naikas, Hussein Sankaras of the world. Now that he's finally in a unification match, which is what he's wanted, I think he's going to dial it up a notch. He's going to really get at this guy and try to make a splash in his Zuffa boxing debut. Jai Opetaia, by way of knockout, is the pick. Keeping with the theme of all things Zuffa boxing and this influx of Zuffa boxing news making their presence felt, a Twitter user who goes by the name P. Curtis said, "I can't believe the established promoters are continuing to work with Turkey after getting a glimpse of Zuffa's plans. How desperate do you have to be for money?" Just about as desperate as you'd be if you didn't have any. I don't know why people romanticize this sport, why they view boxing through rose-tinted lenses. Ultimately, it's prize fighting, and the prizes dictate what happens, whoever can provide them. It's not pride fighting, it's prize fighting. Boxing doesn't run on loyalty. How many times on this channel have you heard me say that whoever's got the TV money, that's who the fighters, the managers, and the sanctioning bodies are gonna fall in line with, because that's what keeps things moving when it comes to Zuffa, when it comes to Turkey, and why promoters might still be working with him when he's working with Zuffa. It's because in working with him, they create a cash surplus for themselves. Normally, they have to dip into their budget that's provided by their broadcast partner to do shows throughout the year, whereas working with Turkey, you create a cash surplus since he's picking up the tab. You can then reallocate your resources to do other shows for other fighters. Pure profit. When Turkey LL Sheik wants to use your fighters on his shows, you get to collect a commission since they're still contracted to you. That commission is pure profit at no expense to you. You didn't have to do a show, dip into the budget, put it all together to try to get something back. You're getting something back at no expense to you. And what you didn't have to spend, you can dedicate to another fighter and another show, another series of shows. So what it is smart business. Even if Turkey's in bed with Zuffa, Turkey's in bed with everybody. In boxing, he's worked with Matchroom, Queensbury, Golden Boy, Top Rank, PBC, Boxer, you name them. I can understand why somebody might look at that and think to themselves, Turkey working with so many people in the industry, does that not constitute a conflict of interest, competing interests? Because he's not just working with me, he's also working with my competitors, the people who might want to see me and my company down and out, going under. I get it, but that's why it's important to not be too reliant on Turkey LL Sheik and the Saudi Arabian war chest. If they want to use your fighters and you get a commission out of that, great. But you don't get laxed. You continue to do your own shows in all the markets you operate in. The UK market, the US market. You take the money you're saving and put it to work. And that's if you even can, because some of these promoters that P. Curtis is talking about, they can't. The PBC doesn't have anything on schedule right now, not officially. Top Rank, they've only got one fight, and that's this weekend. What fighters they've made available to Turkey LL Sheik to use on his shows, like Shushu Carrington and Keyshawn Davis, Teofimo Lopez, that's smart business. Because for all the shows that you can't make for all of those fighters, since you're between broadcasters right now, you can make them available to someone else and collect a commission so that you can still make money. When he wants to put together an Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes fight, you get something out of that, as opposed to the nothing you'd get hoarding your fighters until such a time as you get another broadcaster. It's a good idea to make these fighters available to whosoever can use them. And if that's Turkey, so be it. That's what you have to do in the interim. Right now, it's smart business. Even if Turkey is working with your competition in the form of Zuffa Boxing, he is also working with you. It's just as much an opportunity for you as it is for Zuffa, as it is for the fighters, their managers, an opportunity for everyone. The old saying goes, you have to get while the getting is good. And that's what these promoters are doing. So I disagree with P. Curtis. A lot of people right now, they're just doing what they have to do because that's what they have to do.